Promotions, financial struggles, cup runs, relegations, league titles, and Wembley appearances. These are all part of the history of Port Vale Football Club. Jubilee and centenary celebrations indicate that Port Vale FC was formed in 1876, although recent research has shown that the likely date of the club's foundation is 1879. It isn't until October 1880 that the Staffordshire Sentinel first reports on a Port Vale match, a match won by the club's second team by 1-0. The origins of the club are sketchy. The name Port Vale is believed to originate from the Valley of Ports along the Trent and Mersey Canal, near to Burslem. Port Vale House, a possible meeting place for the first team, was located in this area. What is known is that Enoch Hood was the club's first captain and one of its founders. By 1881, having previously played in local meadows, a ground was constructed at Westport, currently the location of Westport Lake, and became home to the club's friendly matches and local cup ties. Further new grounds would follow, firstly at Moorland Road, Burslem, currently the location of Burslem Park, adjacent to the present ground. It was here that the club became Burslem Port Vale. The 1882-83 season saw Vale enter the Staffordshire Cup for the first time. The rivalry with Stoke was in its infancy as Vale lost the replay 5-1, following an earlier magnificent 1-1 home draw in their first ever match against their neighbours. Match details on Vale's fixtures become more apparent the following season as the Sentinel began regular reports on the games. Professionalism was introduced in July 1885 with the formation of Port Vale Football and Athletic Company Limited, and Vale competed in the English Cup for the first time that same year. The side reached the 5th round before withdrawing from the competition due to the cost of travel for a replay at Brentwood. Vale were defeated in a friendly against Great Lever, as Blackburn Rovers, their cup replacements, made the trip to Brentwood, eventually winning the trophy for the 3rd year in a row. Vale would also enter the Birmingham Cup this season, a trophy they would lift in 1913, and in the summer of 1886, Vale moved again to a new ground at Cobridge with a grandstand for 1,000 spectators. Vale's first ever win over their local rivals Stoke City came in March 1890. Played at the Athletic Ground in Cobridge, the 2-1 victory arrived at the 17th attempt over a Stoke side containing ex-Vale players Tommy Clare and Bill Rowley. Friendlies became less important during 1890-91 as Vale joined the Midland League. A 3rd place finish the following season and encouraging friendly results helped the club become an original member of the newly formed Football League Division 2 in 1892. But they finished only 1 place above bottom club Walsall Town Swifts. The 1893-94 season began with an amazing 7-game winning streak. Aided by striker Billy Beats' 9 goals in the opening 7 games, Vale looked set for a title challenge until a poor run of results ended in a mid-table finish. 2 poor seasons followed, and in 1895-96 its fellow league members voted the club out of the league. The club failed re-election by 5 votes at the league's annual meeting and returned to the Midland League. Departures followed, including goalkeeper Tom Baddeley, who'd played in all 68 matches during the past 2 seasons. Re-election was achieved for the 1898-99 season, but despite maintaining respectability for the next few years, players had to be sold, and re-election struggles resurfaced in the 1904-05 campaign. Financial difficulties increased, and despite avoiding re-election in the 1906-07 season, Chairman Robert Audley wound up the club after a lack of interest from investors. The name of Port Vale as a football club was saved, however, when North Staffordshire Federation League side Cobridge Church took over the defunct ground and changed their name to the original title of Port Vale, ensuring the future of the club. The new Port Vale stabilised itself, moved up to the North Staffordshire and District League, and in 1911 joined the Central League, finishing a creditable 2nd against mainly Football League reserve sides. The side narrowly missed out on the title for the next 3 years, despite Chris Young forming a formidable strike duo with Joe Brough for the 1913-14 season. It was in 1913 that Port Vale again moved ground. Initially leased from the council, the old recreation ground in Hanley remained the club's home for the next 37 years, until the death of the club's president, Major Huntbatch, forced the club to sell the ground and make an ambitious move to the current ground, Vale Park, in 1950.
The point of the old recreation ground, there was no way of improving it. It was like situated in a building, houses, all houses and shops around it, see, but in Bryan Street. See, they couldn't do it well, did they? They did make part of it at the back end, a car park, but eventually the council stepped in, and I think it was Alderman Huntbatch. He was the chairman at the time.
Part of the Potteries shopping centre currently occupies the land vacated by the old recreation ground. As a result of World War I, Vale decided not to operate during the 1915-16 season. It was during the war that Bob Seward, who had made 175 appearances for the club, was killed in battle in France. The team resumed action, using many guest players to fill the team during the conflict. Vale spent the next 3 seasons competing in the Lancashire section of the Football League, with Albert Pearson resuming the attacking role he had begun before the war. Lower table finishes were buoyed by victories over established sides, including Manchester United, Burnley, Blackburn, Oldham and Bolton. In 1919, the club's Football League status was regained when they adopted their nickname of the Valiants. Vale began the season in the Central League, but following the expulsion of Leeds City for financial irregularities, took over second division fixtures in October. A defeat at South Shields marked their return, as fullback Peter Purcell missed his only league game of the season due to not being registered with the Football League in time. The first full Football League Potteries derbies took place this season. Vale secured a well-earned point in a 0-0 draw at the Victoria Ground, following the 3-0 comfortable defeat by the Potters the previous Saturday, in front of the old recreation ground's record crowd of 22,697. The following season, Bob Purcell joined his brother at the club, but after the sale of free-scoring Bob Blood, who'd notched 44 goals in his 53 Football League games, increasing pressure was placed on fellow forwards, including Tom Page. Goals became a rarity, and victories even more scarce. The sale of Blood to West Bromwich Albion had generated a much-needed £4,000, but dented the Valiant's attack. Only 6 goals in 16 league matches followed his departure. 3 difficult seasons followed for the club between 1921 and 1924, as goals proved a major headache. Player-manager Tom Holford's woes on the pitch were matched by financial difficulties off it, and led to a managerial change as Joe Schofield took over the team duties. It was also during this period that Vale played in a distinctive red kit, and it would not be the last time that an alternative strip would be in the place of their now renowned black and white colours. Fortunes began to change partway through the 1924-25 season. The amazing goal-scoring form of Wilf Kirkham, who was to become the club's all-time leading goal-scorer, amassing 165 goals in just 275 games, lifted the side up the table. After finishing in 8th place for the 1924-25 season, Vale began to produce consistent form, finishing 8th in the following 2 seasons, then 9th, until a disastrous 1928-29. Relegation was unavoidable, as Vale secured just 5 away points all season. Financial strains again inflicted an additional loss, as the club was forced to sell Wilf Kirkham to arch-rival Stoke. The gloom didn't last long. The following season would prove historic for Port Vale Football Club. New signings were added to the now free-scoring Albert Pinniger, helping the Valiants respond to relegation with a fantastic season. The run-in to the 1929-30 season included a thumping victory over Lincoln, and after losing only 5 games and scoring over 100 goals, they won their first ever Football League title, Division 3 North, pipping Stockport County to the top and reclaiming a spot in the second division. The improvement continued the following season with a fifth-placed finish in the league, still Vale's highest ever league position, under the guidance of new boss Tom Morgan. A disappointing season followed, as Vale only managed to survive the 1931-32 season on goal average, thanks to victories in their final 2 games. Finances continued to force changes in the side from year to year, and the team continued to struggle. Stalwart centre-half Jack Round departed before the start of the 1935-36 season, and it was in 1936, despite defeating eventual First Division champion Sunderland in an FA Cup third-round replay, that a draw at Charlton on the last day of the season condemned Vale to the Third Division North. It was also in 1936 that the club first adopted black and white as its first-team colours. Warnford Cresswell became manager, taking the club into the Third Division South until the Second World War. The outbreak of the conflict meant the abandonment of senior football and led to the side playing in the North Staffordshire League as an amateur junior team, before competing in other organised competitions. In 1944, the club issued an appeal fund to help pay for its ambitious construction of a new ground on Hamel Road, Burslem. The exciting plans led to it being dubbed the Wembley of the North. For the 1946-47 season, Vale resumed their league status, playing in Football League Division 3 South. Despite a brief period of promotion form in 1947-48, with goals from Ronnie Allen and Tommy Cheadle contributing to an undefeated run of 7 games, the side finished mid-table during the next 4 campaigns. In March 1950, local hero and dazzling winger Ronnie Allen was sold to West Bromwich Albion for a then unbelievably high transfer fee of £20,000.
I remember seeing Ronnie play his first game. He was only a kid, 16, and I remember Ronnie well. He was a tremendous player, both feet. And when I was on the ground staff, he used to have me crossing balls for him, and he used to volley them in both feet. Terrific player, Ronnie Allen.
The money proved vital, as 1949-50 would be Vale's final season at the old recreation ground. Record profits of over £10,000 helped pay for the new 40,000 capacity ground at Hamel Road, Burslem.
Went to Burslem, and Billy Taylor, the chairman, the chairman of Senior College, gave him that ground, and at one time it used to be a marlow. Yeah. And they made it a free tip, and everybody could fill it in.
I was on the ground staff at the time, and they decided to move up to Burslem from Hanley, and it was a case of everybody helped out. I mean, even seasoned pros, they worked on the ground, as well as the ground staff lads. And like I've said before, I don't know whether any of the players got paid, but they were borrowing, you know, red ash and that about, and emptying wagons and generally joining in.
Stood for about 3 years, and then he played on it. And the first match he played on there was Newport County. It should have been on the Wednesday night, and it was that wet. They played it on the Thursday.
A crowd of 30,196 watched that game on the 24th of August 1950 as Vale defeated Newport County 1-0.
And the first goal that scored there was at Hamel Road, scored by Aviard, centre forward. And I can remember when the ground was there, he rolled the pitch, and as he rolled the pitch, the drains were that far enough down as it cracked them. And they had to close down for a few weeks, and they played so many matches down Stoke football ground.
The first season at the new ground ended in sadness after the death of manager Gordon Hodgson. Ivor Powell was installed as player-manager, but 1951-52 began with a disastrous spell, and by November, Vale were bottom of the league. Trainer Ken Fish was a temporary replacement until the arrival of another player-manager, Freddie Steele, in December 1951, taking his side to 13th position. Due to geographical reasons, the club was forced to transfer to the 3rd Division North for the 1952-53 season and quickly joined the promotion race.
I'd just come out of the RAF, having served 2 years national service, and I think it was around about the Easter time, and the team have been doing exceptionally well and were in a good position. In fact, I think if they'd have beaten Oldham at home, then they would have been champions that year. Anyway, I was lucky enough to get brought into the side, and I held my place then for several years, you know. So I remember that well as well, because it was a good side with the nucleus of the team that went on to win promotion the following year.
Promotion was missed by just 1 point. The run of 4 draws, including the Oldham result, were vital. Goals from Potts, Leake, Mullard and Hulligan in a 4-0 victory over Grimsby on the final day of the season failed to stop the Latics from taking the title and the 1 promotion place. The following season, Vale continued their quest for promotion. In fact, 1953-54 was to become one of Vale's most memorable campaigns.
Well, it was just one of those times when nothing seemed to go wrong. Everything come right. The team blended well. There was a good feeling throughout the team. There was no prima donnas. Everybody, you know, played hard. Good atmosphere. We got good lads to come in if anyone was injured, which was a rarity. I don't think anybody dared get injured because they didn't want to lose the place. But the atmosphere was tremendous. And with Freddie Steele, the manager, it was, well, the happiest days of my life, I think. And everything went well.
The defence, featuring Stan Turner, seen on the left, with Reg Potts, and the key figure of Tommy Cheadle, became known as the Steel Curtain after its manager, and conceded a mere 21 league goals, a figure that remains a Port Vale record to this day. Vale dominated the league. Forwards Albert Leake, Dickie Cunliffe, Ken Griffiths and Basil Hayward were rampant as Vale cruised to some huge victories. 4-0 over Barrow, 5-0 over York, 6-0 over Rochdale and a 7-0 thrashing of Stockport. Only 3 defeats were suffered as Vale amassed 69 points and took the league championship. It wasn't just in the league that Vale had success. A tremendous FA Cup run saw them overcome Darlington, Southport, Queen's Park Rangers and Cardiff. The reward for reaching the 5th round was a tie with cup holders Blackpool and the legendary Stanley Matthews. A crowd of 42,000 watched the game, with a further 8,000 locked out. Vale travelled to Leyton Orient for the next round.
I remember going to Cardiff City and winning the Cardiff, beating Leyton Orient, who were doing really well at that time, and they were top of the old 3rd Division South, having a similar run to ourselves, and we were due to Ray King, magnificent save in the last minute of the game, and a goal by Albert Leake, who seemed to score goals quite easily in them days, you know. So games like that were special.
Albert Leake's goal secured victory and sent Vale into the semi-final. Nearly 70,000 fans at Villa Park witnessed a thrilling tie against West Bromwich Albion. The tie had turned on the controversial penalty scored by former Vale hero Ronnie Allen.
And I was quite close to it because I was chasing back, and George Lee had gone through with the ball, and unfortunately Tommy Cheadle fetched him down. Definitely a free kick. And but I was amazed when the referee gave a penalty. Nobody seemed to make too much of a fuss about it, really, and that's something, looking back, I can't understand. I think we were stunned more than anything because we've been winning the game. Then we gone to one each, and then this penalty, which was obviously outside the area, which had been proved by the cameras. But it's a bit too late now, like, isn't it?
The side struggled on their return to Division 2, and by January, partway through the 1956-57 season, the Valiants lay second from bottom. Legendary manager Freddie Steele resigned, and relegation followed after just 3 years in the division.
Well, it wasn't too bad that if it had happened the following season, it probably would have been a choker. But it was over a period of about 4 years, 4 years. So there was a gradual decline. I mean, there was good players coming up, but probably they were just a little bit too young at the time. I mean, there was Terry Miles coming through, there was Stan Steele and Harry Poole, and I mean, they were coming, you know, and went on to be good players for Port Vale. Probably had they been a little bit older, you know, probably they would have blended in that side a bit better.
New manager Norman Lowe rebuilt the side for the Division 3 South campaign. A confident start was quickly forgotten as the mid-table finish had disastrous consequences.
Probably a point. We would have been in the 3rd division, but we finished smack halfway and had to go down. Bit disappointing, really. It did seem unfair. You know, a point we'd have been in the 3rd division. A point less, we were in the 4th. And I think it probably made us more determined for the following season to rectify that, which we did by winning the 4th Division Championship by quite a way, I think.
The new 4th Division provided the club with the opportunity of a new beginning. Vale embarked on a championship campaign with a new look as the side adopted black and amber colours.
Norman Lowe had just come as manager, I think it was the previous season. We'd played Brighton and Hove Albion on the last match of the season at Vale Park, and they played in black and amber stripes. I'll never forget it. Norman Lowe said, "Crikey," he says, "it makes them look a big side. About us trying that strip next season." Didn't matter so much to the players, but I don't think supporters liked it very much. Got used to the idea, I suppose, and I think we wore it for, I don't know, a few seasons.
The team had an unusual start to the season. Excellent away results were cancelled out by poor home form. Drastic measures were called for.
I think we started the season poorly, particularly at home. I don't think we won for the first, I don't know, 5, 6 matches. Norman Lowe said, "We'll try something." So he says, "What we'll do is we'll go out for lunch somewhere on the coach." This is, I assume, pretending we're away from home, and that's what we did. We went out on the coach for lunch, came back and finished up winning that first home match.
The 4-1 win over Southport began an unbeaten home record of 8 months as Vale romped to the title.
The away record was absolutely amazing. And Christmas time, we'd play Gateshead on the Christmas day at home and away on the Boxing Day. We beat them, I think it was 8-0 at home and 4-0 away. And I remember their captain, I was playing centre forward at the time, their captain was centre half, and he came to me after the match. He says, "Keep up the good work." He says, "I backed you for the championship anyway." And it was just a great season for us. A lot of goals. I even scored a few myself.
Third division status was safely maintained in 1959-60 as excitement came via the best FA Cup run since 1954. Victory at Dorchester Town set up a second-round tie at QPR, where they'd already drawn 2-2 in the league, a match which Vale had to face without ever-present goalkeeper Ken Hancock.
It was luck, really, and I thought it was a wind-up. And this is the part of ground I can say this is the actual area where we were running around the track, and I think it was Roy Sproston or someone came to me and they said, "You're playing at Queen's Park Rangers in the Cup tomorrow." Hank's just broke his thumb, but it was Ken Hancock, the regular goalkeeper. And I thought, this is a wind-up. And I said, "Are you joking?" And I just kept on jogging around. He said, "No, it's serious." And it was true. I didn't have time to get nervous because I thought, well, I'm in now. So we went down to Queen's Park Rangers and we made a draw 3 apiece. And we played up here on the Monday night and we won the replay. I think Graham Barnett scored both the goals. Graham was the one who vowed that he wouldn't shave his beard off till we got knocked out of the FA Cup.
Vale progressed to the 5th round. A record Vale Park crowd of 49,788 watched the tie with eventual Division 2 champions Aston Villa.
We did quite well, but we'd had problem with the weather on the Thursday before the match. There was about 6 inches of snow on the ground. They got the tractors on and fetched it off, but it was just a complete mud heap. And we took the lead. I was fetched up for a penalty, which Brian Jackson converted. I think it was Jerry Hitchens, and I don't know if it was Hitchens or McParlin got the equaliser. And then about 10 minutes to go, I think it was Hitchens who scored with a header. It was a match we could have won, but I think they were a little bit too strong for us at the finish because they were a big side.
Consistent finishes in the division followed, but it was yet another cup run in 1962, which had the Vale fans eyeing a first visit to Wembley.
Anything can happen. And when they win a corner, Port Vale see Macedo saving the situation for Fulham. Fulham start an attack on the right, but Hancock is safe in the Port Vale goal. Another raid by the home side. Right back Cohen is up with it and Poole concedes a corner. Cook places the kick well, and again things look dangerous for Port Vale. No score at half-time. Fulham are on the warpath after the resumption. In the visitors' goal, Hancock on the alert. In the Fulham goal, Tony Macedo thinks it's a nightmare. Back come Port Vale. Centre forward Llewellyn tests Macedo. A great save. What a ding-dong game. Fulham outside left. Dave Metchik tries a header. 4 minutes from time, Metchik is brought down. It's a penalty. Langley's kick scores the winning goal. Lucky at last, Fulham go into the quarter-final.
We finished up losing the match 1-0 with the last-minute penalty. The controversy of the match was Brian Jackson had a shot to hit the post, gone behind Tony Macedo, crossed the line. I mean, blatantly crossed the line because there's photographs in the paper the following morning anyway. Come behind him across the goal, and Bert Llewellyn is a couple of yards out maybe, and he's hit the ball over the bar. We could have been there really. I think we could have beaten Blackburn, who was struggling at the time, and it would have been nice to get to the semi-final, and possibly Wembley, you never know.
1962-63 saw Vale miss out on promotion. Despite winning 8 out of their last 10 games, they finished in 3rd position, just 1 place outside a spot in Division 2.
I think if we could afford it possibly to buy maybe a couple of players or something, I think we would have definitely gone up that season. And to lose it with it being so close was very disappointing. And I don't think we ever got that close again, as long as I played anyway.
New signings Billy Bingham and Albert Cheeseborough were bought for another promotion attempt the following season, but the side failed to match expectations. A respectable 0-0 draw at Liverpool in the FA Cup was followed by a 2-1 replay defeat to the league champions-elect, the highlight of the season for over 42,000 fans at Vale Park. Difficulties on the pitch increased, and in 1964-65, after only 9 league wins, Vale were once again relegated to Division 4. Following relegation, the club focused on youth development for the future success of the team. The legendary Sir Stanley Matthews accepted the job of general manager, overseeing the youth policy at the club.
Well, Stan had got this idea to rebuild the club from top to bottom, and obviously you start at the bottom. In that case, he was starting with youth policy. Stan decided that he was going to troll the whole of the northeast of England and the whole of Scotland. He got scouts all over the place, and there was a group of Scots lads came down from mainly the Edinburgh area. There was probably 8 or 9 of us, and there was probably as many again from the northeast of England, which has obviously been a hotbed of football talent. And his idea was to build a very strong youth policy, and I was part of that.
Despite youth success, first-team matters went from bad to worse, culminating in a Football League fine of £4,000 for financial irregularities and expulsion from the Football League.
We never expected anything like the severity which we've just experienced. As I've said previously, we're absolutely shocked and appalled. Nothing else to say.
Are you going to appeal, Mr. McPherson?
We may consider this at a later date.
And what's the position of Sir Stanley?
The position of Sir Stanley at the moment, that he feels quite justifiably, after being a sporting ambassador of this country for over 30 years, he's deeply concerned about these findings.
Fortunately, the club was reinstated to the league in June, although Sir Stan had already departed following the scandal. He was replaced by a new young manager, Gordon Lee.
Stan had got this idea and he needed time. And when you've got a load of young lads, you're not going to get them through in 12 months. Stan needed about 5 years, maybe 5 or 6 years. And obviously the expulsion from the league caused the club a few problems. And it was only because of Stan's contacts that the club got back in the league. Stan worked very hard to keep them in the league.
The new manager had an immediate impact. The 1969-70 season saw an opening 18 league match unbeaten run as Vale clinched promotion by finishing 4th. 1970-71 saw Vale preserve their place in Division 3 and the steady emergence of a new star in Brian Horton.
We had a good side, you know, we were a very workmanlike side. No great stars, but the whole squad pulled together and we were very difficult to beat here. I mean, this place was like a fortress. Nobody used to come and like to play here.
The following season, Vale had once again secured 3rd Division status when, on May the 8th, 1972, after over 800 appearances, a club record, defender Roy Sproson decided to end his playing career. He took up a position as coach and, following a struggle against relegation, took over as manager in 1974. The 1974-75 season included a flirtation with promotion. A run of 5 wins from 6 games saw the side enter 1975 in 2nd position. Results slipped, however, and the side finished 6th. The following season, promotion looked a certainty after a terrific Christmas spell, until the sale of key players.
It's ironic that we're standing here at the moment because the person who's now the manager here at the moment was sold. And from the day he was sold, the club went downhill on the pitch. Brian was our captain, he was the leader of the team, and he was a good player. And when you've got a small squad and you haven't got that many players of his quality playing, there wasn't many players as good as Brian in the league. And when they sold him, immediately any thoughts of promotion disappeared. We should have gone a lot closer than we did. But obviously this old Brian and this old John Ridley and then this old Terry Lees, I'm not quite sure in which order, but those are 3 of the best players, and the club the size of Port Vale can't survive doing that.
The late 1970s saw a succession of managers: Roy Sproson, Colin Harper, Bobby Smith, Dennis Butler and Alan Blore, as Vale strived to leave the 3rd Division. Eventually they did so, but in the wrong direction. The 1977-78 season finished with 4 straight defeats. The loss at Plymouth saved the coastal side and condemned Vale to the bottom division.
We were gutted basically, you know, because it's a disaster, isn't it? And the thing is, I mean, I think we had 3 or 4 home games to go, and we'd only got to win a couple of games, and then we got the game down at Plymouth, and we just didn't do it at all. And I always remember coming back, and we're all very sick, obviously, you know. And we got on the coach, and as daft as it seems, I mean, I don't remember much of the game now, but the one thing I always remember is that we went back to the hotel at the end of the game to drink the champagne that we'd ordered because we thought we were going to win and stay up.
An immediate return to Division 3 didn't happen, and in 1980, despite the arrival of manager John McGrath, Vale almost dropped out of the league altogether. Wins in the final 2 games saved the club, including future captain Phil Sproson, from re-election on goals scored.
They're just in turmoil. And like you say, from a player point of view, you know, you get another manager, he brings 1 player in or 2 players that he particularly likes. Obviously no money to spend, so it doesn't necessarily say they're going to be any better. So the team gets changed again, a manager has different ideas. Players are trying to impress, and like you say, a club needs a bit of stability, and we didn't have that at that particular time, and I think that's why we struggled for the 5 or 6 years that we did before, say, John McGrath came and things started to look up a little.
The following season, Vale again struggled in the league, sinking to bottom of the table by the end of September.
It's just about keep believing. I mean, at this moment in time, the league doesn't matter. It's just a stigma at the moment that we are at the very bottom of the 4th division.
League form remained poor. Re-election to the league was only avoided with 1 game to spare from the end of the season. However, it was in the FA Cup that real humiliation arrived. A 1-1 draw at Vale Park against non-league Enfield created a difficult replay.
When I look back, you know, I thought it was bad then, but when I look at the goals, it must have been a disastrous night. And like you say, we all went down there. It was bad enough to draw the game at home, you know, but to go down to Enfield on the night, that particular night, I mean, again, it was humiliation, really, because as a professional footballer, you don't want to be beaten by part-timers.
The following season, Vale began on the road to recovery. A team was shaped combining young players with experienced professionals in a bid to challenge for promotion.
The big man across at the Vale, Big John, has got a bit of time for me, and John Rudge also, and they approached me to come and have a chat, and I went across to see Vale Park, and Big John McGrath showed me round and wined and dined me and made me feel very, very important. He painted a very nice picture in as much as he wanted me to be the senior player. Got a lot of youngsters in the side, and he didn't want to apply for re-election, I think they call it then, rather than relegation or whatever. And he didn't want that to happen. He wanted in a number of years to get promotion. So he convinced me.
Results slipped after a promising start as Vale finished 7th. Even attendances suffered. The biggest crowd for over 6 years watched this game against Sheffield United, but by May the 1st, 1982, York City's visit drew the lowest post-war league gate at Vale Park, just 1,924 spectators. But the emergence of players such as Mark Chamberlain indicated Vale would be a serious challenger for the title in the following campaign. However, finances forced the sale of both Mark Chamberlain and Mark Harrison. Despite this, the £180,000 combined fee enabled the club to bring in more players, as they maintained their aim for better football, more fans, and a promotion bid.
The fans are in for a treat. and I think you'll see our gates shooting up again. Simply because people love to see wingers go past people.
The new side gelled well, and promotion was eventually secured in a comfortable third position. The success was quickly forgotten, though, as Vale had a disastrous start to the third division campaign. This second-round Milk Cup tie defeat against Manchester United added to the woes, and with just one league win in 19 games, McGrath was fired. Chairman Jim Lloyd decided assistant manager John Rudge was the man for the job. But despite an amazing turnaround of results and striker Mark Bright's 5 goals in 5 games, the team still finished second bottom and were relegated. Bright joined Leicester in 1984-85 as Rudge brought in a number of free transfer signings to stabilise the side. The first 2 months included on loan Ray Walker, who was to join Vale just 2 seasons later. Robbie Earle also enjoyed his first full season on his way to becoming a key figure in the team. Winger Osher Williams was a £7,000 signing, producing wide attacking football that would be a future trademark of John Rudge. A run of 13 games without defeat also offered a sign of next season's successes. Rudge began the 1985-86 season by adding to his squad, including unknown striker Andy Jones, a £3,000 buy from Rill, who, alongside Robbie Earle, became the attacking force of the side. A slow start to the season was ended with 2 4-0 victories over Hartlepool and Wrexham, beginning a 9-game unbeaten run. A poor mid-season was forgotten as promotion was clinched against Peterborough with 4 games remaining, thanks to a run of 18 games without defeat as Vale finished 4th in Division 4. Once in Division 3, the aim was to stay there. Ray Walker joined for a tribunal-decided fee of £12,000. This would prove a bargain in seasons to come. However, Andy Jones was to become the most influential player of the season. In the last home game, he scored 5 out of 6 against Newport for a season's tally of 37 goals as Vale finished mid-table. Early in the 87-88 season, Jones departed for a then record fee of £350,000, joining Charlton Athletic. Encouraging league form disappeared after his sale, and progress in the FA Cup seemed unlikely. Despite victories over Tranmere and Notts County in January 1988, Rudge's future was uncertain before the arrival of Macclesfield.
We were having a poor time of it in the league, and we drew Macclesfield Town here. And the rumour was that if we lost this game, that obviously John Rudge would be sacked, even if we drew the game. So we did find there was a lot of pressure on us. We were 0-0, I think, with the 89th minute, and Kev Finney, a young boy at the time, came on as sub, hit him and just trickled over the line. From that, we drew Tottenham.
Following the defeat of Tottenham, Vale unluckily lost out to Watford in a 5th-round replay. After 2 seasons of consolidation, 1988-89 was the season Vale would make a challenge for promotion to the 2nd division. Striker Ron Futcher was bought, and it was his partnership with Darren Beckford that catapulted the side into one of the 2 automatic promotion spots. Vale slipped into 3rd place and faced the lottery of the playoffs with a tie against Preston.
We were confident that we were going to get promoted without the playoffs. But we were professional, we knew that we were a good side. We went to Preston and got the 1-1 draw.
A Beckford hat-trick completed the victory over Preston, setting up a playoff final tie against Bristol Rovers. A hard-earned draw at Rovers Twerton Park, thanks to goal-scorer Robbie Earle, set up a Vale Park promotion decider in front of a crowd of 17,353. (1989-90) was a solid season, with the club achieving its aim of holding on to a place in the 2nd Division and being undefeated in the first Potteries League derbies played for over 32 years.
My first season I thought went very well, because when you move into a higher division, the first job's always to establish yourself, and obviously people, you know, made Port Vale's favourites for relegation that season. To finish sort of mid-table and to be quite comfortable throughout the season, I think was a good first season, and everybody, you know, enjoyed it, and we're playing at grounds, some of the lads that had never played there before, and I think we give a good account of ourselves, and I think the supporters were, you know, pretty well pleased with the way the season went, and obviously finishing above Stoke.
A poor 1990-91 offered an indication of future struggles. Despite the arrival of midfielders Robin van der Laan and Kevin Kent, Vale finished a lowly 15th, and the season ended with stars Robbie Earle joining First Division Wimbledon and Darren Beckford going to Norwich, generating a combined fee of £1.7 million. The departees proved difficult to replace, as Martin Foyle, Keith Houchin and Peter Swan joined the side for a tough 1991-92 as the club struggled to stay in Division 2.
Before you go out, you know every game is so important, and one mistake can cost you a game. So that, you know, you do feel under pressure, there's no doubt about it. I mean, people say you're pressurised when you're top. I know what I prefer. I found it exciting being in the top. Not pressure, just exciting, but being in the bottom of the league, that is pressure.
Only a magnificent performance at Anfield in the Rumbelows Cup offered any respite from league struggles.
It's a goal! Vale have scored! And Robin van der Laan has put Port Vale ahead after 5 minutes. Well, the Vale fans are going quality. Just look at them. Liverpool 0, Port Vale 1 with 4 minutes gone. And Simon Mills letting that one run. Now cutting in from the right, a good chip forward. Is the flag up? No, it stays down. It's Rush on the edge of the box. A good ball across to Walters. And it's there. It's a goal to Liverpool. Scored by McManaman. As this in-swinging corner comes in, it's across the goal, and it's there. It's a goal into the net by Fulton Rush. A good layoff. Now can Jeffers get round here? A lovely ball by Jeffers, and it's there. It's a goal. Beautiful goal. And Vale are back on terms. And just look at the fans. The Vale fans are going mad.
I think it was a case of when the manager put their team up on the board before the game and given the team talk. I mean, it was I think he had to have a laugh himself because he couldn't really slag a lot of them off. But we went into the game, you know, reasonably confident, but we were well aware that if we didn't play well, we were going to get thrashed. And we started off well, and it turned out to be a really good night, and everybody enjoyed it.
A 4-1 replay defeat preceded a disastrous run of 17 league games without a win. However, this victory over Blackburn was followed by 3 points against Brighton. After going into the lead versus Charlton, relegation fears had reduced until this late equaliser turned things around. The Valiants were now in trouble.
Yeah, it looks as if we're going to win at least one and see what other results happen.
Vale failed to win again, and defeat in the final game of the season to Grimsby completed the misery as they finished bottom of the table.
I joined the club on the pretences that Darren Beckford and probably Robbie Earle were going to stay, you know, so I thought, oh, teaming up with Darren Beckford would have been ideal for myself. But as I've signed, you know, Becky's gone out the door, so to be honest, that got me off to a bad start because I was a bit disappointed.
The problem started, for me, started in the pre-season because we sold Robbie Earle and Darren Beckford, and they had scored probably 35 goals for us most seasons. Once we got into that bad run of form, we couldn't get out of it, and I think if you looked over the results, we lost a lot of games 1-0, especially home games, when once we went behind we just couldn't score enough goals. I'm not trying to put the blame entirely on the forwards or anybody else, because we're all in it together, but defensively that season we didn't let in too many goals for a side that got relegated, but we just didn't have the firepower all round as a team to keep in the division.
1992-93 was to prove an epic season in Vale's history, as the club attempted to return to the new First Division following the breakaway of the FA Premier League. Despite just one win in 10 games, the poor start to the season was put to one side for the visit of Stoke for the FA Cup replay.
Although we did have a bit of trouble on the night, didn't we? The ball comes in from Russell. Great header there from Overson and Sanford in the back of the net.
Yeah, it did cause us a few problems, basically, because the visibility wasn't too good that night, if my memory serves me correctly. I don't think I've thawed out from that night, but that really did give the visitors to Vale Park the ideal start. And we're getting a bit worried in the commentary position, but back Port Vale came with a vengeance. Martin Foyle feeding Nicky Cross here, and then of course Ronnie Sinclair plays the ball out of goal, and then it's played straight back in. Nicky Cross beat the offside trap, played Martin Foyle, and you've got to fancy Martin Foyle from here. Bang, he makes no mistake from some 16 yards, and that put Port Vale on level terms, Phil.
And this is where the heavens really opened up now, wasn't it? The rain started to really pour down just before half-time, and in the second half we were all hanging on, weren't we, for our dear lives. Tim, the cameraman, had got one hand on his camera, and his other hand was holding the wall.
Andy Porter made a welcome return to the side with a goal of distinct class, and he really did punish the Stoke City defence there with an excellent goal. And just look at the Port Vale faithful there. They are loving this night, Phil, weather or no weather.
Certainly looks like it. I can only describe this night's weather as baby weather, really. It's very wet and windy.
As the ball comes in now, and just watch the stick in the mud now. Ray Walker, normally that would have cleared 3/4 of the pitch, and it's stuck in the mud. Nicky Cross gets the ball, he plays it through to Martin Foyle. Again, the ball is held up in these atrocious conditions, and Martin Foyle makes no mistake with a great goal there. And that signalled his return to the side, and great work it was by him. And look at the Port Vale faithful, they're dancing now.
I was delighted he picked me before the game, but they scored first. I mean, it was on Sky, and it was absolutely lashing down the rain, but like I said, I scored, and then Andy Porter scored a screamer, didn't he, with his left foot. You never see that again, I know. And then we got a winner later on, but a lot of credit should go to Nicky Cross, because he set all 3 goals up.
A sustained push in the league followed the Cup exploits, with non-league capture Ian Taylor becoming a key figure as the side began scoring freely.
Here's to Neil Aspin. Neil Aspin finds Bradley Sandeman, and Bradley Sandeman got clobbered there, Phil.
Yes, he's just gone down there, Tony. He's on the floor at the moment.
And Nicky Cross is found here, totally unmarked and onside. He plays the ball across, and there's Keith Houchin.
Despite Vale's form, promotion was a closely run contest.
I'm not really bothered about Stoke City. All as I'm competing about is about ourselves. All we want to do is to get 3 points. Whoever we're playing tonight, there's 3 points at stake. But if we keep winning our games ourselves, we ain't got to worry about anyone.
The wins continued, and promotion seemed certain until a slip-up against Bradford City saw Vale drop to 3rd, allowing Bolton to move into the 2nd automatic promotion spot.
I think we were one of the best teams in the league at that particular time. You know, Bolton were up there. I had a chance to go to Bolton. Ex-manager Bruce Reich, he was at Bolton. He tried to get me there. So Bolton, it ended up that Bolton just pipped us with that. I think it was a point. We played Blackpool on the last day of the season. I think it was like 4 we scored. We battered them. But then the score filtered through from Bolton that they had won, and I think it was a penalty or a last-minute goal, and it was one of total dejection.
The playoffs beckoned, with Stockport between them and a place at Wembley.
There's a penalty. Penalty. And that was a brave decision, but certainly the hands were on big Alan Finley's shoulders. As Will Williams taking the... Sorry, Paul Williams, rather. There, 1-0! 6 minutes. County 1, Port Vale 0. From Flynn. Immediately Foyle. Tries a shot. Got away from Flynn, and only just wide of the target. And what an answer that would have been to County's spot kick up here. There. And I think it was Dean Glover, the captain. 1-1. Todd knocks it back in, up and under. Finley just tipped over by the keeper. Another good effort by Alan Finley. Twice he's been thwarted by the keeper. Once from the corner when he made a tremendous reflex save, and then that looping header from Alan Finley was certainly going to drop under the bar, but Paul Musselwhite used all his 6'4" and punched the ball over the bar.
I can remember the first leg at Stockport in that, but with big Kevin Francis on that pitch, he was a handful. And he was a good player, and a lot of people probably underrated him. And he caused Swanee so much problems, you know, with his height and his movement. And but I can remember Dino scoring, you know, which was great. So we've come away with a 1-1 draw, so we thought, you know, keep it tight. But we didn't mean to go at that tight and leave it that late, you know, so I can actually remember finishing it off. So, again, it was another great game.
Now Wallace, what can he do? It's going to be too near the keeper. Oh, he dropped it! Oh, Williams couldn't get it. Well, I wonder if that can go down as County's best chance of the game. Ryan. Coming inside. Oh, it's not a bad run. Oh, well, I don't believe it. The linesman flagged when he was shooting. Taylor this time. Oh, and that wasn't a bad effort from Miller. Oh, look at the room for Slaven now. Oh, I don't believe it. With 6 minutes of the game left, Vale have scored.
League form wasn't the only success of the season. Following the FA Cup run, a thrilling Autoglass Trophy competition saw the Valiants once again overcome Stoke in a cup tie. The two-legged regional final against Exeter gave Vale the chance to meet Stockport just 3 days after defeating them in the playoffs.
A lot of players, when you first start the Autoglass and that, you're a bit, you know, it's more games, more fixtures, but like I say, you get through the little league bases and then all of a sudden you're going, oh, hang on, we're in the quarterfinals, you know, because it's regionalised and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, semi-final. Then we had the final against Exeter, and that was a close game. We actually played very well against them at home, but they scored first, and we won 2-1. Then we've gone down to their place, and it was nip and tuck. It really was a close game. I mean, they were 1-0 up with about 10 minutes to go, and then Bernie pulled one out of the fire.
But a marvellous piece of skill by Robin van der Laan, using the chest to control. A flick through by Martin Ford, and there's Bernie Slaven, and we were saying earlier on he scored some very important goals for Port Vale, and that really did seal his fate with Port Vale.
And I was fortunate enough to score that night, and the lads were looking forward to the build-up to the final. Loads of publicity in the national press and the local press, and we turned up there, and the big danger of Stockport was Francis, 6'6", playing the wrong game. And there's no way you can stop him. If the balls come into the box, we knew that he was going to win them in the air. Dean Glover would have needed a pair of ladders to get up there.
Referee today, Mr David Ellery from Harrow. His two linesmen, Mr Peter Brennan and Bob Harris. The two teams coming out, Danny Vigara, John Rhodes, the two happy managers. Who's the one that will be the happiest at the end of the game? We can't say 90 minutes because could be extra time and then even into penalties. Slaven now. Running at the defence, finds a good ball for number 10, and it's there. That's how you do it. Paul Kerr. Glover beneath, there's a lot of room, nobody near him, he can go where he wants. Todd coming towards him, chipped into Foyle. Good play, finds it for Slaven. Chance, 2-0. Glover, Foyle, Slaven, so easy. Who returns to find Duffield. Chance now for County. Duffield with the ball. Swings the ball across. Francis! Magic goal from Francis!
It was especially poignant for me because back in, oh Jesus, I don't know how long ago now, I think it was 1990, I'd actually got there with Middlesbrough by scoring against my former club Villa to put us there, and unfortunately on the day I got bombed out to sub and never actually got on the turf. My father wasn't a happy man at that particular game, wanted to rip the manager's head off, seeing as though we lost 1-0 to Chelsea, but to get back and to score the first goal at Wembley, in front of my father when he was alive, God bless him, was a really, really good moment for me in my life, and I played well on the day, the team played excellent.
I think it was a deep ball for, I think it was Dean Glover, in towards the area. It was Martin Foyle controlled it, laid it to me, I chested it. At the time people were claiming it was a handball. The papers all missed it because afterwards they says, oh, people are claiming handball, but it was definitely your chest, and I says, well, there may have been a hint of handball, but Maradona got away with it, didn't he? His was obvious, mine was sleeker, and I thought it was a good effort. You know, it was a good flowing move, and it eventually came, chested it, and volleyed it, and it flew past the keeper. Delighted to score at Wembley.
A lot of the players, myself included, had never played at Wembley, and it doesn't matter what competition you play in. The ambition is to get to Wembley and play in a final, and it was a fantastic day, and it made it all the better by the fact that we won and brought the trophy home. And we realised then we had more supporters than we thought, because we had a lot of people came down to Wembley, and then on the return, everybody lined the streets, and it was a really great day.
John Rudge had become the first Vale manager in the club's history to take a side to Wembley. 8 days later, they returned, chasing promotion.
And we've seen him score these all season, but what an important challenge.
He got the ball, Tone.
Well, they didn't see anything wrong with that at all.
Well, I'm worried now. Peter Swan could be in terrible trouble here. In my opinion, he got the ball, Tone. He got the ball.
I don't believe this, because that was an excellent tackle. There was nothing malicious in it. We saw him do that in the Autoglass Trophy last week. He never got penalised for that. He took the ball. The man just fell over his legs. And this could be devastating for Port Vale, because you have to say, if Roger Milford's blown up for the free kick,
the referee's made his mind up. It's red.
Cross comes over. That's going to be a goal. It's not going to be a goal. The number 6, Gary Stroder. And that was amazing. That's going to be a goal. And it's Andy Hunt for West Brom. At Port Vale, heads drop. With 21 minutes gone, Andy Hunt scores.
And this is a chance now for West Bromwich Albion coming forward. And here is Reid. He's through on goal. He's only got Muscle White to beat, and he scores.
That's the chance that you take. You leave yourself short at the back. They took a midfielder off. The defence was coming forward to support that midfield, who in turn were supporting the attack. That's where your player comes in. That's where the player short comes in. Just look at it there. This is Nicky Reid. That was a great finish. Muscle White got a touch on it, and they're 2-0 down, and you have to say that with 8 minutes to go, Port Vale could be in Division 2 next season.
This is Bob Taylor. And there is number 3 for Kevin Donovan. The Baggies make it 3-0. And really, you have to say it was all over anyway. And, well, Port Vale can hold their heads up high for the season that they've had. But, I don't know, Tony, it's all gone wrong at the end.
Well, Kevin Donovan there really made up for those 2 dreadful misses he had earlier on in the game. A consolation goal for him. Port Vale, well, as you see the ball going from Kevin Donovan there, Port Vale are out of this game. They're going to be dreadfully disappointed. They've come into this game so confident.
I've never looked at the video of that game. I just thought we didn't play, didn't perform. Too many went to sleep on the day. I remember Peter Swan. I think he gets sent off when it was 0-0, if my memory serves me right. And obviously when he goes off, then the backbone of your defence is missing. And then they started to play. I think it was an ex-Geordie lad, don't know if it's Hunt. Some ex-Geordie lad scored the first goal, I know that. And then they turned us over. They beat us with a couple of goals. But as I say, wasn't one that'll live in the memory. And I've never watched the video since that day.
I think going back to Wembley twice in 8 days was weird. It's like you don't appreciate it as much. I'm sure mentally we thought we were up for the game, but on reflection, Peter Swan obviously getting off had a big influence, and on the day I think they just about shaded it up to the point to Swanee getting sent off, and then they murdered us from then on in. So it was a bad day, really, very bad day.
On the day we didn't play as well as we had done. There's no doubt about that. The first half, I think it was 0-0 to half time. I think we felt that whoever was going to get the first goal was going to probably come out winners. And once West Brom scored, it really picked them up, and we were a bit deflated. And on the day they deserved to win. I don't think we had any doubts about that. But during the season we felt we'd performed better than West Brom, and we did feel aggrieved that we'd been pipped.
Promotion was again the target in the 1993-94 season. A steady beginning to the season was followed by a run of 7 wins from 8 games as Vale entered the promotion race.
Who I think's fitted in very well this season, Alan Tankard, and just look at the space for Ian Taylor, and unselfishly set up.
Again, we were entertaining, we were scoring goals. I recall us beating Barnet at home 6. I got a hat-trick, and then Martin Foyle got a hat-trick in the second half. So we were on fire.
But he won't get any more goals in this match. Already got 3. Best to get it cleared with Brian Marwood. And there you go, the goalkeeper of Barnet got nobody but himself to blame 6-0. What a great afternoon to Port Vale.
Another FA Cup run included victories over Huddersfield and Premiership Southampton, until defeat by Wolves shifted the sides firmly to promotion. Successive defeats at Wrexham and Bradford preceded a fantastic run-in.
It was never cut and dried that we were going to get promotion that season. We were always in the frame, but never really in the top two. And then I think we won 6 out of the last 7 games, which eventually got us promotion. But we had to go to Brighton on the last day of the season and win. And that's pressure in itself, knowing that you need to win. But at least it was in our own hands, which was different to the year before at Blackpool.
Nearly 6,000 fans travelled to Brighton's Goldstone ground, where victory would guarantee the one remaining promotion spot.
We got off to a good start there, and really the game was never in doubt, and it was a really nice feeling coming back from Brighton and knowing that we had clinched it, because the thought of going into the playoffs again was, you know, it would have been really difficult to have to go in the playoffs, and everybody was pleased, but it was also a sense of relief as well that we'd made it.
1994 saw Ian Taylor finally move to the top flight, joining Sheffield Wednesday as strikers Tony Naylor and Lee Glover arrived at Vale Park. Double winners Manchester United avoided becoming another of Vale's Cup scalps with a 4-1 aggregate victory in the Coca-Cola Cup. League form was mixed. 7 games without a win ended in a November purple patch, including high-scoring victories on successive weekends. Despite this, Vale still began the new year in the relegation zone. The club had a fine finish to the season, though, losing just 1 of their last 7 games, including the first league win at Stoke for over 70 years, to finish 17th.
Vale has scored for Port Vale. Well, we said it just took one moment of magic, and it was there from Steve Guppy combining with the great Martin Foyle, who gets his 18th strike of the season. Simon.
Well, I tipped Martin Foyle to score, actually. I was on a slight wager on that before the kick-off. He hasn't scored for a while. That was an absolute superb delivery of a corner from Steve Guppy. We were mentioning that delivery had to be inch perfect.
The following season, Vale returned to poor league form. They remained in the bottom 6 for most of the season. Again, it was FA Cup exploits which provided the drama as Vale faced FA Cup holders Everton in a 4th-round tie.
We played very well on the day. It looked like we were going to go out of the competition by conceding a late goal, and then obviously Ian Bogie popped up in the last minute to get us a replay. So we were all, you know, delighted with the result. Set up the replay about a week later, and that game stands out for me in my 10 years at Port Vale as the best performance that I played in, team performance.
Port Vale are more than capable of playing some beautiful football out here, and good sweeping pass there by Tankard, finds Andy Hill back in the centre. Good run on by Ian Bogie. Still Ian Bogie fires a shot. That's in the net. Ian Bogie, 17 minutes gone. And not 2 minutes ago, Simon, I was saying he had to make more of an impact into this game. And Ian Bogey, we love you here at Port Vale. Port Vale 1, Everton 0. And what an absolute gem he did it at Goodison Park 3 weeks ago. Look at this, Simon, coming up on the video. Bang! Straight past Southall and straight into the back of that net. Graham Stewart, chance to one each, and he has. Did it take a deflection? But one thing we do know, after 31 minutes, Everton have pulled level through Graham Stewart. He's had 2 chances so far this evening, and he made no mistake with that one. Did it take a touch off Aspin? Neil Aspin lunges in, and it did. It came off Aspin's right leg, just went over the outstretched Paul Musselwhite.
We're on the attack again. Got 2 men through into the area. Scott to score! Yes, yes he has! The goal is going to go! And you've got to say that was deserved. What did we say? It's got to go in the back of the net soon. And there we have it. Southalls can't complain about that one. It's a beautiful move. Mick, how did you see that one?
Well, I actually caught my microphone as it went up in the air, but look at this, Guppy, bang, straight over. In comes his opposite wingman, bump, in off the post, round the back of the net and out over the line again. Water, back to Dave Watson, and that's it! Port Vale have knocked out the cup holders. Everton are out of the FA Cup. Vale Park has gone absolutely mad with fans cheering. And what can you say?
It's got to be one of the greatest nights at Port Vale. A superb game, a superb performance, and a great result.
And the camera shot there. John McCarthy with the second important goal for Port Vale this evening. Ian Bogey with the first. Stewart levelled it. It was 1-0 to Vale through Bogey with a wonder strike. Stewart pulled it back, and then the second half, a beautiful move between Steve Guppy and John McCarthy, putting the ball back into the net, made it 2-1 for Everton. George Andrews will certainly have something to say about this, and certainly Port Vale, as they take the applause from the Vale Park faithful. Well, they have deserved it, haven't they? But Everton, the cup holders, make the lonely walk down the tunnel out to this year's competition. And Simon, Port Vale thoroughly deserve it, mate.
It's a magnificent night for us and a great night for our supporters.
It was a fantastic performance, as you say, with attacking football, playing with 2 wingers. And that particular cup run, a lot of the games we played in, I think we played some of the, well, probably the best football that I witnessed in my 10 years at the club, and it was, you know, it was nice to be associated with a club and with that standard of football that we were playing at the time.
Vale threatened a further upset in the next round until Gary McAllister gave Leeds an 88th minute winner in the replay. However, one cup run provided a March visit to Wembley. Some excellent performances had taken Vale to the final of the Anglo-Italian Cup, where Genoa stood between Vale and the trophy.
In space, Nappy against Aspin, cuts in field. Defending all at the back with a shot, Ruotolo, it's in the net. And it's number 11, Nappy, with the corner for Genoa. And well, unmarked. The goal scorer, Genoa find themselves 2 up, 4 on 2. And look at that, good running there by Onorati. He's been forced out to the left, he's going to get this cross in. Over it comes. And look at that, an absolute peach of a goal by Montella. And Port Vale going all out to try and pull one back. Ruotolo hooks it back in. And Nappy, brilliant save by Paul Musselwhite. Nappy gets a second chance. Ruotolo, he makes it 4. It's the second goal for the captain, but the man who did all the work, and Paul Musselwhite looking dejected there. And Majoni now trying to find it to Ruotolo. Ruotolo gets his hat-trick. And Port Vale, 6s and 7s. It was 3 against 4. Lovely ball off Ian Bogey. Foul! It's in
Martin Foyle pulls one back from Port Vale, and that's more something like from the Valiants. That's what we've been wanting to see all afternoon.
Who have been absolutely fantastic this afternoon here at Wembley. Well, it's in there, Martin Foyle.
March also included a run of 6 league wins, lifting the side to 12th. The high point in the league was the double over rival Stoke, completed at Vale Park with a tremendous strike.
The crowd on the edge of the seats. This has been the talking point for the last month, whether this game would go ahead, and it has. Andy Porter, Vale skipper, plays it out to the right. Hill, Foyle lets it go. Ian Bogey shoots, and it's in the net! What an absolute dream start from Ian Bogey and Port Vale. The Port Vale fans are delighted. I make that 30 seconds after kick-off. Stoke City caught napping, and Port Vale with surely the quickest goal of the season here at Vale Park. Simon, how did you view that?
Well, that's really put the kettle up to the pitchings, doesn't it, mate?
A mediocre start to 1996-97 prompted Chairman Bill Bell to put Port Vale up for sale. An upturn in results followed, and with a new 4-5-1 formation, 8 away wins were gained. The club was eventually taken off the market, and even the departure of Steve Guppy to Leicester failed to stop the run, as 4 successive wins left Vale 5th, with 3 games remaining.
We had a spell where we won 6 games on the trot, which really lifted us up the table. So to be honest, I think by the end of the season we were just running out of a bit of steam, and I think we lost 2 of our last 3 games, which meant we couldn't get in the playoffs. I just think that it was probably 3 or 4 games too many that season, because we had a tremendous run to get us out of trouble in the sort of January and take us through. If we could have hit that form a bit earlier, I think we were capable of probably getting in the playoffs with the players that we had at the club.
Vale dropped to 8th, but this was still their highest league placing since 1934. The 1997-98 season began with optimism, but by the new year, the 7th place had turned to 21st, as mounting injuries contributed to a loss of form and a run of 7 league defeats on the trot. Vale also exited the FA Cup during this period, the 3rd round replay to eventual double winners Arsenal producing a thrilling match. A relegation escape looked unlikely as Vale sank to the bottom of the table. Victory over fellow strugglers Manchester City gave some hope, and then Jan Jansen's superb strike and Martin Foyle's 90th minute equaliser at West Bromwich Albion gave Vale a vital point and a target with 3 key home matches left. The victory saved Vale and helped to condemn neighbours Stoke to the 2nd Division.
50 will be close, and let's hope that we can think that might be enough. If we can get another 3 wins under our belt, I think that we have a good chance of staying in the 1st Division.
We played Charlton at home and played really well and lost 1-0, and the same thing happened against Middlesbrough at home. We played well and not got the result, and I think when games like that slip by, you start thinking, well, we're going to go down. But the week before the last game of the season, Manchester City threw away a lead at home and they ended up drawn. And that gave us a chance that if we went to Huddersfield and won the game, we knew that we'd stay up.
The victory saved Vale and helped to condemn neighbours Stoke to the 2nd Division. Relegation again looked on the cards as 1998-99 began with difficulties. By the time summer departure Lee Mills' new side had trounced the Valiants, the club was already 2nd from bottom in the table. An October mini-revival of 13 points from 15 encouraged fans, but results remained poor. And after Swindon had inflicted Vale's 12th defeat in the last 14 games, on January the 18th, 1999, the board announced its decision to remove the club's most successful manager ever.
The board of directors have decided to appoint John Rudge as Director of Football at Port Vale and to advertise the position of first-team manager.
After 19 years at the club, 15 as manager and over 800 games in charge, John Rudge declined the club's offer to become Director of Football, and a legal battle followed. Brian Horton, one-time club captain, returned to Vale Park to fill the vacant manager's seat and attempted to prevent the struggling side going down. Again, relegation went down to the wire. Fellow strugglers QPR arrived at Vale Park with 2 games to go. Victory was vital.
Beating QPR and Bury losing at West Brom meant that we had avoided relegation. So I was particularly proud, especially with me being captain. I didn't want to be a captain of the team that got relegated. And I felt it was a great sense of achievement to stay up, because there was a time when we did look, you know, dead and buried.
I took over, they were second bottom. They'd not won away game, and I got a point in 12 away games. You know, so it was a hard task, but I bought some new players in the deadline day, and it did the trick. So we did what we had to do. I mean, that was my brief when I met the chairman. Keep us up, and we go from there.
As Port Vale enters the next millennium, the club maintains its great traditions. The development of a magnificent new stand continues, as does the progress of the side as the club pits itself against some of the best teams in the country. The future for Port Vale Football Club is bright, and with the passionate support of its faithful fans, it will retain its significant presence both in the Potteries and in English football.